Let me ask you a question. If Eatontown is managing millions of dollars in a municipal budget and at the same time allocated hundreds of thousands of dollars in community funds, would you want to understand the big picture, the priorities, and the process behind every decision? Because right now, that's exactly the conversation we need to have. Now, before we get into anything, let me be very, very clear. This is not about criticizing any organization that is receiving or will be receiving funding. In fact, I believe every organization in this town, churches, synagogues, nonprofits, youth programs, should receive as much support as possible. If it were up to me, we would fund as many of them as we could immediately. But there's a reality. We can't fund everyone fully and all at once. And that's where responsibility comes in. That is where prioritization comes in. And most importantly, that's where process comes in. Because this conversation does not exist in a vacuum. Every dollar being allocated exists within a larger municipal budget framework, a budget that must balance infrastructure, public safety, services, long-term investments, and financial sustainability. So when we talk about any allocations, we have to ask, how does it fit into the full financial picture? And that brings us to one specific category of funding: Community Benefit Agreement Funds, or the CBA. Funds intended to go directly back into the community. Funds that should have and showcase visible, meaningful impact. And during a recent council meeting that happened, the very last one, those allocations were outlined for us. At approximately 1 hour and 56-minute mark of the meeting, the following was presented: a total of $432,400 allocated as Lions Club gets $115,000, Mount Zion Church $35,000, 55 Wyckoff $18,900, Moms Regional $500, DPW Demolition $43,000, Little League $20,000, and Borough Website up to $200,000. Accountability marker number 1: process. Now the question becomes, what is the process behind these decisions? How were organizations selected? How were amounts determined? What criteria was used? Because when resources are limited, the process is everything. Accountability marker number 2: fiscal reality. Let's ground this in reality. We just said it. We cannot fund everyone equally or fully. That's not an opinion. That's math. So decisions must be made. And when decisions are made, they must be based on need, impact, long-term value, not randomness, not inconsistency, not alignment, but a clear, structured framework. Accountability marker number 3: public trust and perception. So this is where it becomes critical, because even when intentions are good, if the process is not clearly defined, it creates confusion. And when there is confusion, there is perception, and perception matters, because people may begin to ask, was every organization given a fair opportunity? Was every decision made using the same standard? And those questions may even become controversial. Was this just for alignment? We can avoid all of these questions with clarity. Accountability marker number 4: consistency. Look, I'm going to give you just a simple example. Mount Zion Church, $35,000. Again, not criticism. I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I want every church to get as much money. But a fair question: what is the selection process? Because residents will naturally ask, what about other churches? What about my church, my synagogue? What about other organizations that are serving the same role? Is there a system, and is it applied evenly? Accountability marker number 5, prioritization. Now look at the spread. Monmouth Regional High School gets $500. Cool. I'm an alumni. Lions Club, 115,000. Borough website up to 200,000. That's no small variations. That's a major prioritization. So the questions become, how are the priorities determined? What qualifies 500 versus 115,000 versus up to 200,000? What defines impact? Because prioritization must be intentional, not arbitrary. Accountability marker 6, the website. Now let's address the largest allocation, up to $200,000 for a borough website. Again, technology matters, but what does that investment include? Scope, timeline, deliverables, ROI for residents. Because when one item represents nearly half of the total, it requires, dare I say it, communication and clarity. Accountability marker number 7. What's the actual spent here? So far, $20,000 to the Little League, $13,000 IT services. That's it, which means most of the funds are still not fully deployed. And that creates an opportunity to define the system before everything is spent. Please, I'm not saying don't give people their money. You promised, do it. But there's a big picture here because we need to bring it all together. This is not about being against funding, being against organizations or creating divisions. I can already picture the opposition telling everybody, Ali does not want us to give you money. That's not what we're saying. It's about responsible spending, responsible allocation within a larger budget, fair distribution across a diverse community of nearly 14,000 people, clear process that builds trust. The opportunity here is simple, is to establish a clear application process, a defined evaluation system, a transparent communication strategy so that every resident understand. No, we're not just deciding, let's just write a check because I feel like I like you and I want to give you money. There's more to it. It's not just what was done, but how it was decided. Because this isn't about who received the money. It's about how the decisions were made, because they will be made again in the future. And when the process is cleared, trust always follows. And in Eatontown, that is what leadership looks like. Trust. Let's make it happen, Eatontown. I'll see you in the next episode.
Still marketing your business like it's the Yellow Pages era? Welcome to ME Studios, where local solopreneurs and small business owners catch up with the digital world and take over it. We help you go from invisible to undeniable. Featured on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Plus, gain press exposure in over 100 to 300 major media outlets like Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, and the CW. Right here in Eatontown, New Jersey, just steps away from the soon-to-be Netflix studios, our multi-unit facility is built for creators, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Stop marketing like it's 1995. Start building your digital authority today with a team that gets it.